Hello, Nursing 330. I just finished grading your papers and wanted to give you some virtual feedback. So first of all, you guys did a great job. I absolutely love reading and grading papers. I learn so much every time. I know how much work goes into papers, from the literature search to the APA to, synthesizing and writing everything so that it makes sense. I know that you put a lot of time and effort into those papers, and they were really good. The grades ranged from 80 to 97. So there is one student who requested an extension, so I'm going to only share this for now with the students who have had their papers graded. So the first thing is the way that I grade papers. Well, first of all, my role. So think of me, okay, it's very important to me that students grow from their paper feedback. So the expectation is by the time you finish your program, you can write at a professional level that, your paper might be able to be accepted for a poster presentation at a national conference or a local conference. So the expectation is pretty high as far as the level of writing that's expected in a bachelor's program. So my job is to give you feedback to get you to that level. It's very rare that students come into a nursing program or any program with the expected professional level of scientific writing. So I enjoy doing that. I give a lot of feedback, and what I want you to do is think of me as a smiling editor that you paid a lot of money to find every little thing that I can possibly find to make your paper publishable. So please do not view it as nitpicking or picking your paper apart. My goal is to just bring your attention to it so that next time around when you write another paper, or if I was your editor and you were writing another draft, you would know what needed to be revised. So that is my intention, for you to grow as writers and for you to really find the feedback helpful. So number 2. So the way I correct papers is to, first of all, make sure they come in on time. Second, look at the title page and make sure that fits with APA format. As you know, the 6th edition APA is gone and the 7th edition has been released. So I did not take any points off for people bridging that transition. So I did highlight everything that people did that was 6th edition so that you would know next time around what the 7th edition requirements are. So I feel like I think it was released in like November or December of 2019. So I'm thinking like as of maybe the end of the fall semester, it would be or maybe even the beginning of the fall semester, it would be the expectation that students now use only the 7th edition guidelines. But I did not take off points for that. So I look at the APA and the title page, and then I go directly to the references. So if the references are peer-reviewed, evidence-based journals within the past 5 years, I know that the claims that the student is making to support their thesis are based on the most current evidence in accepted journals. If it is not, then that discredits everything that the student is saying in that paper. With the exception of sentinel works or topics that perhaps there isn't as much research and the student has gotten special permission to use a little bit older research. So the next part is then I look for a strong introduction paragraph that explains all topics that will be discussed in the paper, including the reflection piece at the end. And then systematically The student would go through the review of literature, moving fluidly from one paragraph to the other. Each paragraph, it's a recipe. Like the first sentence describes what the paragraph's going to be about, and just then talks about what's in the paragraph, or the supporting research. Sorry, the cat is trying to eat my cord. And then has kind of a conclusion sentence. So each paragraph is a mini, paper. It's a set of organized thoughts. And then each paragraph leads into the next. So, you wouldn't have just one outstanding paragraph about stress when the whole paper is about yoga and PTSD. So you need to link each concept together to flow smoothly and organize through the paper. Then the personal reflection, and then a strong conclusion paragraph, which goes over or summarizes every point of the paper without any new thoughts or references. And then I get to the reference page. So systematically, as I look through that, I'm looking at, of course, the APA, the grammar, the professional tone, the organization, how the research is used. Okay. So in this group of papers, which were great, there were some trends, as there always are. They're pretty much always the same. And one of them is plagiarism. We'll just say it straight out. So any thought, you can read this in the APA manual, any thought or statement that is not pure original thought, not influenced by anything you read. So pure original thought or common knowledge needs to be cited. So credit needs to be given to the person who had that thought or influenced your thoughts. So it seems ridiculous to cite every sentence of a paper, but it's literally what you need to do, unless it is your own synthesizing thought that's not based on what you read, which is kind of hard to do. So even, bringing in Judith Lasater or Broad or Butera, you may not have known what you know now without the influence of reading those books. So, it's okay to bring that, those resources in as well, because they did influence how you think about yoga now. So I wrote on so many papers, source. Please put a source. This is plagiarism. And how I feel about it is that until you understand that concept, you're not intentionally trying to plagiarize. So please know that in the future or with other instructors, there is the chance that they would hand the paper back to you or give you a 0 or some sort of major punitive situation, because it is the expectation that students understand what plagiarism is and how to avoid it. So I gave a lot of feedback about that. Let's see. The other thing, so in the new, I'll just tell you, if you Google the 7th edition APA manual, you'll see that there's a couple websites that come up highlighting like the top 15 changes, and that's was really helpful to me. So one of the changes from old to new is that in text citations, if there are more than 3 authors, then you just write the first author and then et al. So in the past, you would write 3 authors and then et al. Now it's just 1 author and the et al, comma, and the year of the publication. When you do the reference page, you now list every single author up to 30 on a work with multiple authors. So that's another change. The title page has changed, and there is a couple different changes with student paper versus professional paper. So student papers now do not require a running head at all, unless the instructor tells you they want one. Student papers have a different title page now with the date that the paper's due and the instructor's name, versus a professional paper, which obviously doesn't have that. Okay, I think that is almost it. One last thing, so when I am going through correcting papers, I start by reading the rubric, and I go back and back and back to that, as well as the paper guidelines. So, the paper guidelines say clear opening statement, review of literature around the research, cites a minimum of 5 peer-reviewed articles, less than 5 years old, and then describe how yogic modalities may be used in the following areas to support healing: clinical arena, community setting, and personal use, and relate the use to your specific health concern or population. So, so in some papers, there was a pretty solid literature review and a reflection, but then not like the application piece to a clinical area, a community setting, and personal use. So, the goal is for you to read all of this literature and research and synthesize it in your brain and then apply it in your paper. So it demonstrates that, it's percolating through your brain and original or influenced thoughts. You've learned something, you're synthesizing, you're demonstrating what you've learned through your paper. And on that note too, that is why direct quotes are just a no. Because a direct quote is cutting and pasting from, an article, and that doesn't show me that you know anything about what you've cut and pasted. So, 1 or 2 is fine, none is better, but truly paraphrasing is the expectation. So you read an article, and then it percolates through your brain, and then you write out what you remember, what spoke to you about that article, citing, key pertinent points, and then you cite the resource for how you were inspired to have those thoughts, and put this synthesized knowledge down on paper. So I tried to make it short and talk fast, but look, I'm at 13 minutes. So please let me know if you have questions. I would be happy to Zoom with you and go over your whole paper. I want you to grow as writers, and what else? I guess that's it. So take care, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.